tells us they won't be. I had a man just tell me recently that Israel doesn't deserve that. Well, let's clear something up. Neither do you.
Yep.
We all deserve hell. Do you know that? Do you understand that? I was preaching at a free speech platform at one of the universities here in California several years ago, talking about God and His plan for us. And I used to have a microphone, let them come up and ask you questions in between throwing rotten eggs and rotten tomatoes. This one guy got there and he said, you know, I don't like this talk. He said, I want God to be just and fair with me.
Really?
I said, well, at least I know the difference now between you and me. He said, what are you talking about? I said, I don't want justice from God. I want mercy. What are you talking about? If I got justice, I'd be in hell. God made a covenant in Psalm 105. I love this, because so many people say, well, we're a long ways away from the Torah. Well, how about Psalm 105, King David's time? Verse 8, He hath remembered His covenant forever, the word which He commanded to 1,000 generations, which covenant He made with Abraham and His oath unto Isaac, and confirmed the same unto Jacob or Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant, saying, unto thee will I give the land of Canaan, the lot of your inheritance. The land belongs to God, and He gave it to the physical descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Case closed. The United Nations, they're always telling us what their plan is. Are you kidding me? I got a plan. I just read a big article about the United Nations. They're all upset about the food service and the traffic in New York. I have the solution. Get out of our country! And finally, little boy sitting with his dad in the front row. The pastor said, and finally, little boy turned to his dad and he says, what does that mean? He said, absolutely nothing. Hopefully this does. The great purpose behind this teaching. A lot of folks stop right here and don't read the next 3 verses. Listen to these words. Take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that day come upon you unawares. For as a snare or a trap shall it come on all them that dwell in the face of the whole earth. Watch ye therefore and pray always, that you may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. 2 simple things. 1, don't be unawares. He is warning us here about the dangers of self-indulgence and wrong priorities that seems to dominate us all now, even the Christian world. It's hard to tell the difference between the Christians and the lions without a scorecard. It's like everybody who is a Christian feels they can live like the non-believer, and it's okay, for God's grace will extend to it. Listen, never presume upon the grace and mercy and forgiveness of God. Amen. Just continually thank God that that's the kind of God He is. We need to be very careful about the way we live. The cares of this life, he's talking about anxiety. That it's a word to distract. It means you get your mind off of the Lord and the things that really count, and you're all burdened down about everything you've got to do in life. It deals with errands. You've got to go to the store, and you've got to go get gas in your car, and you got all these, you got to pick up a prescription or something, and so we become enamored and overwhelmed with all the little things in life we have to do. And we forget what's really important. Yes, we have to do those things, but we ought to do them with joy and anticipating the opportunities that those things will bring to us to talk about our blessed Lord. Amen? Amen? That's so important to understand. And number two, don't be unprepared. In the first case, he's warning us. In the second case, he tells us to watch how we live in the light of eternity. Watch. A lot of us think he's got binoculars on or something. No, that's not what he means. Be sober, be vigilant. Same word, watch. For your adversary, the devil, walks about seeking whom he may devour. Whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brothers that are in the world. But the God of all grace, who permits you to suffer for a little while, will perfect you and settle you and establish you and make you stronger than ever. Be very careful, people. Watching is referring to our lifestyle, referring to how we live before a God who loved us and saved us by his grace. Be very careful. This passage clearly teaches that Israel will survive all attempts to destroy her. Right. It's going to get rough for Israel, especially in the last half of the tribulation period. It's going to be very terrible for the Jewish people. I don't want to tell them that. I want to give them a better story. But the better story is the Messiah of Israel is coming. And it's God who will protect you out in the wilderness and nourish you for 3.5 years. And even though they attack you and try to destroy you, in what we call Armageddon, for it is coming, folks, we're seeing the prelude to that now. The Middle East, as one of our military generals said, is a powder keg ready to explode. We're doing patchwork over here in Iraq and over here in Afghanistan and in Lebanon and down with Hamas, and the whole place is ready to blow. And now they all want nuclear weapons. God knows all about that. If you're still worried, I want you to know that I've read the last chapter. We win. Will you join me, please, in a moment of prayer? Thank you for your patience. Father,